Hello there, this is Art, producer and Lord of the Board of the Political Cesspool. The staff of our program would like to take a minute and invite our loyal listeners to explore our recently remodeled website at www.thepoliticalcesspool.org. It's new and improved with lots of exciting features, such as updated biographies of our hosts with all new photos, a discussion forum, breaking news items, and articles featuring the Political Cesspool, and much, much more. And as always, while you're at the website, you can catch our live internet simulcast and broadcast archives of our previous shows so you never have to miss a single broadcast. So, what are you waiting for? Visit thepoliticalcesspool.org today and explore the new features for yourself. Let's return to the Political Cesspool and our own bunch of rebels, the Political Cesspool guys.
So today, I'll be standing right by his side when they say he's a rebel and he'll never, never be any good. He's a rebel cause he never, never does what he should. Just because he doesn't do what everybody else does. That's the reason why I can give him all my love. He is always good to me.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Political Cesspool radio program. I'm your host, James Edwards, joined, of course, as I've been mentioning throughout the day, in studio by Bill Rolen and Winston Smith. It's been a dynamite show so far, and it's only going to get more enlightening as we welcome on our next guest. You've already heard from Sonny Landham, U.S. Senate candidate, and you've heard from best-selling author and former presidential candidate Pat Buchanan, who just got off the line with us. And as the hits just keep on coming this afternoon, I'd like to welcome our next guest, who is on the line now, Pastor Peter J. Peters. He is an author, columnist, pastor, teacher, and broadcaster. Pete Peters is the pastor of the LaPorte Church of Christ in LaPorte, Colorado, and is the evangelistic head of Scriptures for America Worldwide, an international outreach ministry dedicated to proclaiming the true gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the earth and to revealing to Americans and the Western nations their true biblical identity. Pastor Peters, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us this afternoon.
Well, thank you very much for having me, James. I hear a lot of good things about you. I've never met you personally, but I appreciate a young man that's out there doing his share, and thank you for having me on. Well,
you're very welcome, but truly the honor is all ours, and we certainly support you 110%, and I very much value the work you're doing out there with your ministry. First question, Scriptures for America is known for the many ways in which the ministry outreaches to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, of course. A few months back, though, you broadened that outreach even further by launching an addition to your radio outreach called Another Untold Story. What led you to embark upon this innovative and intriguing outreach, and what kind of response is it receiving?
Well, James, one day I was leaving the radio ranch. That's what we call our ranch. It's outside of Laramie, Wyoming, where we do our broadcasting. It sits on the Laramie River, and it's just like, well, the Spirit just kind of spoke to me concerning stories. Jesus Christ, of course, is the greatest storyteller that ever lived. The only difference between his stories and someone like Stephen, what's the guy's name, that Hollywood actor fella, Spielberg.
All right.
The difference is I come to realize that there are those that can tell a story to make you believe a truth, and there are those that can tell a story to make you believe a lie. And of course, Jesus told stories, they were called parables, to bring us to a greater truth. And then I realized something, that not only was our master teacher a storyteller, but our people, James, they like stories. And it just came to me, why not tell stories? That there's one man that's as articulate of any broadcaster I've ever heard, and that's Mr. Paul Harvey. And I guess one of the more infamous and popular broadcasts over the last couple of decades has been his rest of the story. So this idea came to me, why not tell another untold story? And the whole idea, now I'll be honest, it's a fishing thing. You know, I'm a fisherman of men, And every day now we put out a story. It's like baiting the hook, and we throw it out there. Some people like stories about this, some like stories about that. And I think this last week we did 3 stories about it's no secret that Victoria's Secret has a secret. What are those secrets? And so if you want to know, you got to go to anotheruntoldstory.com to find the rest of the story. Well, they hear the story, and then to get the rest of, so to speak, of that story, they go to the web. Now, the purpose of doing that in our mind was to evangelize, because we tell people that come to Another Untold Story, before you leave, we hope you'll click on to the greatest story ever told. And that, of course, James, is the gospel story. We tell them it'll be the best 16 minutes of their life they ever spent. Could change their life and their eternal destiny. And James, I'm sure you can believe it, but I could say to your audience, believe it or not, you'd be surprised how many people today, in spite of all the churches we have never heard the true gospel story of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and how to obey it.
I believe it.
So that's the whole idea. That just came to us, kind of a spirit-directed thing. And James, it's really, I think we're in about the 4th month of that now. Done about 100 of those Another Untold Stories. A different story every day. Might be a story about the little boy blues in the Civil War defending Richmond. It might be a story about Andrew Jackson and what they were doing in defending, in fighting in the War of 1812. Or it could be a story about Victoria's Secret. But when they come, the whole idea is to get them to hear the greatest story. And they're coming by the thousands, James. Well, I hope I didn't go too long.
No.
A preacher, but
no, absolutely not. Take all the time you need, and I appreciate your detailed response. And to follow up on something you said, obviously you are a fisher of men, and that sounds like good bait to me to lay that out there for people that piques their interest, and then they go in and they get the rest of the story, and then they get to hear the story about Jesus Christ, which is, of course, what we're here to do. But, Pastor Peters, you know, the hosting staff of this program are all Christians. And when I say Christians, I guess, depending on what church you go to today, they could have a variety of definitions. We are real Christians in so much as we believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, that He came to earth to save us, that He died and was resurrected, and the only way to eternal life is through Him. We believe that, but there seems to be something seriously wrong in most so-called Christian churches today, and something even more wrong with the majority of so-called Christian men today. Neither seem willing to take a stand for Jesus or their faith. What do you attribute to the cause of this?
Well, James, I think of one of the books in the Bible that you're named after, the book of James. And the book James makes mention of being double-minded in James 1:8. He said, being a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And boy, do we have that double-mindedness in the land today. In fact, the very term that you hear so much of today that was never even in our vocabulary but a few decades ago, Judeo-Christianity, that's double-minded. I mean, if you can be a Jew, you can be a Christian, but you can't be you can't be half and half. And you know, have you ever seen these signs, James, outside of some little town, Podunk Holler? I don't think you see them too much anymore. It says, Jesus is Lord of Podunk Holler.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right, well, but yet, who decides if they can have the 10 Commandments in their courthouse? Who decides if they can have prayer in their school? So Jesus isn't Lord. I mean, it's a double-mindedness. And what has happened is we've got men today that are neither hot nor cold. They make Jesus want to puke. Jesus said, if you were lukewarm, I'll spew you out. But the Greek word means to vomit, you know. You make me sick is what he's saying. Mm-hmm. And these men that says Jesus is king, but they let the government and every bureaucrat that comes along tell them what they can and can't do in this land. Now, does that not seem to you, James, as being double-minded?
Yes, it does, Pastor Peters, and unfortunately I see it all too often these days, and that isn't even getting in to the false gospel being taught at most churches in 2008.
Yeah, it doesn't even touch that. It's just talking about double-mindedness. That's what we got out there today. If it's